What's up guys? Today I'm going to be showing you how to install a new O2 sensor on your WRX. Right here we have a Denso front O2 sensor. This sensor is actually very important for your car. Essentially what's going on here is the air is going to be coming in through your intake. It's going to be going through the mass sensor, which is going to be measuring how much air is coming in. And that's initially what your ECU is going to be using to calculate the amount of fuel to dump in. After the fact, once the exhaust is coming out, this sensor is going to be measuring different things in that, the oxygen level, things like that, and it's going to calculate any short-term fuel adjustments that are going to be needed to kind of keep the car running correctly, you know what I mean, after the fact. And then your long-term fuel trims are going to be adjusted based upon those short-term fuel trim adjustments. So basically this is just really important to keep your air-to-fuel ratios all in line. But your mass sensor is probably more important, so if you are having issues with running lean or anything like that, I'd suggest cleaning your mass sensor first, or even try replacing it, and then secondary, go to this. For me, this hasn't been changed in 120,000 miles, so I'm going to change this out because it's probably coated with a whole bunch of black carbon and slime buildup and whatnot. My O2 sensor appears to be okay. I've changed it out with an STI unit and same part number and everything, and it's been completely fine. So with my positive fuel trim levels, I believe this might be the culprit. So we're just going to change it out anyhow, make a little video on it, and see if they change. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so just a few things you need to acquire before you get started on this. Obviously number one is going to be your brand new O2 sensor. I just took it out of the packaging here. Really high quality. It comes with a little bit of kind of lubricant, like an anti-seize for the threads here when you put the new one on. A couple other things you're going to need are a flathead screwdriver, kind of like a small one. You know, this is probably like a number, I don't know, 2 or something like that. You're probably going to need like a smaller Phillips head. This is kind of like an optional thing. It looks like one of the plugs that you're trying to get out to actually access it is Phillips head, so you might need this to just spin it a little bit before popping it out with that. And one other thing I did pick up was this O2 sensor socket. Basically it has this cutout area so that you can actually slip it over the wiring, and this is a 7/8 Harbor Freight one. I put it on there, it should work, it's close enough, it's not going to damage anything. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe these are 22 millimeters, so if you want to get exact, I think it's 22 millimeters, but the 7/8 one will work. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is obviously jack up the car, which I already did. Use jack stands, or put the wheel underneath if you don't have jack stands. And what you're going to look at here is there's going to be a couple, actually I'm missing this one must have popped out. There's going to be some of those pop rivet things. There's one here, there's one that's a Phillips head that looks like you got to spin it and then pop it out. And then this one should be here, but it's missing. So go ahead and take these all out, and that's going to give you access to the O2 sensor. All right, so what I did was I just left this top one in and popped this one out. This one was missing, and popped this one out. And then I just took this and I'm gonna slide it up to here, and that then gives me access to the O2 sensor, which is hiding back in here. And it doesn't look like it's gonna be that hard to get to, but you know, those things are always rested in there, so let's give it a shot. All right, so this wasn't bad at all, but just a pro tip. This long ass extension socket type of thing is not gonna fit. What you're gonna do is you're gonna get to put this in here. You're not gonna be able to get seated on, and then it's actually gonna contact not even the black here, not the fender lining, but actually the body of the chassis. So it's just such a tight spot that this isn't really gonna help you all that much. So what I did end up using was a pair of needle nose vice grips, and I just went up from underneath here next to the subframe, and just was able to put these on pretty good, and then just gave it a little bit of a yank, and it actually came right out. So mine wasn't a big deal. If yours is, you might need to put a breaker bar on this, but as far as using a socket there for the front O2 sensor, like a specific O2 socket, I just wouldn't try that. It's not gonna work. All right, so what I did right now is I got it loose down here at the bottom, the actual sensor. And where you're gonna go next is you're gonna pop open your engine bay, and it's literally gonna be this top one right here, it looks like. You'll be able to tell because it's got some blue and white wires. If you're putting an OEM one on, you can actually just look on the new Denso one, and everything's gonna match up. The only thing is, it is attached to this wiring loom. It's going all the way down, and I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but way down there, kind of by like the valve, you know, covers and all that stuff, that is where it's actually attached to, looks like some type of, another type of loom to kind of keep the wires away. So this one's easy enough. Just go ahead and detach here, detach up here, and go ahead and try to detach that one down there, but it's not a big deal. You probably wouldn't be putting it back in that one. It's just probably not worth it. And that's how you get it disconnected from the top. All right guys, so I want to show you what the old one looks like and then what the new one looks like. So I just pulled this out of the car, which if you can see that, it's all white and toasty and really messed up. It's not even coated, it's actually like burned, I guess you could say. Here's the brand new one. Obviously there's nothing wrong with this one, and we're not going to try to contaminate it or anything, so I'm not going to touch it. This one, however, is pretty toast. So even if this one wasn't dead yet, it was definitely going to be dead. And the cool thing is, actually, if you actually look on the old one here, it actually says Denso on it, so you're okay using a Denso part. And this one is a Denso part and says Denso on it. So just, you know, these are calibrated, so make sure you're using the correct one. Don't use like Bosch or anything like that, because those aren't going to be exact to what your ECU's actually programmed to look at. These ones are going to be exact. So time to fish this one up through and get it plugged in. All right, so what I'm gonna do right now is I got the little, the Denso, I wouldn't call this grease, more like a anti-seize. We have the brand new O2 sensor right here, and I'm actually gonna move the camera up a little bit so you guys can get a closer look. And we'll tilt it down for you. All right, so here you go. You have the brand new O2 sensor. You're gonna have the Denso anti-seize. We're gonna open this up. Actually, I'm gonna get a pair of scissors. Yeah, always use the right tools. Don't try to, you know, take the cheap way out here. All right, so we're just gonna cut that open. Biggest thing, do not get this on the sensor. I repeat, do not get this on the sensor. So you're gonna take, just on the threads here, just go ahead and put a little bit around it here. I wouldn't even say it, like honestly, that's how much I used. I would not use a lot on this. And you can go ahead with your fingers here and just kind of spread it on the threads. just like so. It's okay if you get it on the outside, you know, just not the actual sensor part. You can get it on that busher and all that. And we're gonna go ahead and plug this in down below first and get it just most of the way in, not all the way tightened. I wouldn't think you'd have to get it all the way yet. I just don't want to bend the wires when I'm fishing it back up. It kind of makes sense. You might want to, it's just going to be difficult fishing it back up. You might need somebody on top. Right now it's only me, so I might just put it on a pull or a string, kind of like pull it up, but we'll see. All right, so right now I have the new O2 sensor actually plugged in and turned. What I have to do is I have to fish up the old one through kind of the engine bay, and it's really tight in there and you really can't get a good grip on it. So what I have here is an old hockey lace. You can use any type of twine or whatever. We're going to try this out and we're going to see how effective it is. I'm not really sure, at least I can see this. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to drop it down right where I want it to go, through the chassis and through where it needs to be. And there you go, comes out right where it needs to be, which is good. And obviously there's enough up top here. Now I'm gonna go down below. You guys probably won't be able to see this, but I'm gonna grab the end of the lace, and I actually have the bottom part of the sensor, you know, because there is some oil laying down there and everything next to the engine, so I don't want to get this end clamp here, this connector, contaminated anyway. So I just took the bag that came with it, put it on there, and I'm just gonna tie the lace onto here. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna fish it up through here. And the cool thing about the Denso sensors are they're the correct length you're gonna need. And then you can just go ahead and pull this all the way up. And as you can see, the sensor just came out the top here. So that effectively worked. That's Redneck Garage Engineering right there. You're gonna go down here and just make sure the end of the wire is all coming up there pretty good. Then what you can do is you can untie this here. You can untie just your little overly protective thing here. Take your O2 sensor and fish it up kind of where you want it. I mean, it's not really a big deal. It doesn't have to go exactly back to where it is. Then go ahead and you can plug it in. This looks good. So yeah, clips right in. Go ahead and take that clamp that you had before that was on this wiring loom here, and just go ahead and, these are reusable, just clamp those back together. Pretty simple. Alright guys, just to show you how I kind of rigged mine up. This isn't exactly how it came, but I actually I didn't attach it to that bracket down there with the, on the block. I just pulled it up. It's very close to the airbox. It's not touching the engine at all. This is going to keep it in place. I may put an extra zip tie on it, but that's holding it up at least there. It's just wrapped around because there is about probably 2-3 more inches than you need here, and then it's just plugged in up here. And now we're going to go around to the inside of the car real quick. I got this down because I don't want to put it on the ground. I don't want to get the seats all nasty. But what essentially we have here is we have the access port. So we're going to go in and we're going to go to our live data, and I'm going to show you the numbers. Oh, well, be good if we had the car turned on, right? Yeah. So your key's got to be in the on position for the access to port as for the access port to work. If I could talk right. So now that the ECU is now emitting some, data to this, we're going to go to live data, and we're going to look at the AF learning numbers here. Now this is before I reset the ECU. So as you can see, AF learning 10.1%. If you look at all the other ranges here, we got, here's A, we got B, we got C, and then D is going to be 0. So what we're going to do right now is I have the new O2 sensor plugged in. It's all good to go. We're going to go down to If I can find it. Maybe it's in troubleshooting. All right, yeah. So you're gonna go to troubleshooting. Now this is a version 2 access port. You're gonna go to troubleshooting, and then you're gonna go to reset ECU, and it's gonna say reset learning and clear codes. So what you're gonna do is just go ahead, reset your ECU. It's gonna say your ECU is now reset. You're just gonna press OK at this point. What you can do is go back to your monitors, go to your live data again, and you can go ahead and go look in these learning values, and they're all going to be still the same, I believe. Which is kind of odd. I thought they'd all be 0. But whatever, they haven't reset yet. So we're just going to go in and we're going to make sure they're reset. Alright, so the live data is still kicking back. There are some values in here. So what we're going to do, just to make sure, we're going to turn the car off, pull out the key, let it sit for a few seconds here. And while we're doing that, I'll explain what I'm going to do. Essentially what you're going to do here is you're going to reset the ECU. You're going to make sure those are 0. If they don't reset to 0, I would hope that they would. But if they don't, you're still just gonna, they should be reset. You reset the ECU via the access port. Then you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna start the car, and you're gonna let it idle for literally, I would say at least 5 minutes, but 10 preferably. I don't even have the wheel on, so right now I just kind of buttoned everything up, and I'm gonna put the wheel on while it's idling and while it's relearning all its values. All right, so let's go ahead, put the key in the on position again. We're going to go back into monitors, live data, and there you go. All your AF learning numbers are now 0 because you've reset the ECU, especially AF learning 1. And we're going to leave this on here and we're going to let it go. So what I'm going to go do now is start the car, and we're going to see how crappy it runs when it first starts. Oh, and maybe I should open the door. Don't want any of those fumes kind of clogging your lungs up. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start the car. And the car runs good. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to continuously watch these AF learning numbers. Now, what's going to happen is the car is going to look at these AF correction numbers. So, AF correction, and look at this. This is really good. This is really, really good, guys. -10. So that's really good. These are going to adjust down, but negatives are better than positives here. I mean, you want it, ideally, you want it close to 0, but negative numbers are going to indicate, there we go, kind of around that, 1. Look at that. Look at that. That's perfect. You can't get much better than that. That's excellent. So it looks like this might be the issue, but we're going to have to see, because it is learning up to like 1, to 8 and stuff like that. So we're going to have to let this go. And I'm just going to leave it on the learning right here. And this is the biggie. You want all these learning numbers. These are the long-term fuel trim numbers. You want all those to be close to 0. You don't want them negative. You don't want them positive. You want them close to 0. They're not going to be close. They're not going to be 0 because it's going to constantly be like adjusting and everything. But we're going to leave that, and we're going to see how it is, and we're going to come back in 10 minutes, and I'm going to show you how it is doing.